You know that feeling when your mind goes completely blank during a high pressure situation, when your heart races and suddenly you can't access any of the knowledge or skills you know you have. That's your brain shifting resources away from clear thinking so you can react faster. And it's designed to keep you alive, not help you thrive. But what if you could train your mind to stay calm and focused even when everything around you feels chaotic? What if you could use a simple three-step system that elite performers rely on to make sound decisions under extreme pressure? Let me share with you exactly how your brain responds to stress and why understanding this changes everything about how you handle challenging moments. You see, your brain's got a secret saboteur. Picture this. You're in a meeting and your boss asks you a question you know the answer to. But you find that your mind goes completely blank. The information is right there in your head, but it might as well be locked in a vault which you can't open. You feel your face getting hot while everyone stares at you, waiting for a response that just won't come out. Now, this isn't a failure of memory, nor is it a failure of your intelligence. This is stress shifting blood flow from your prefrontal cortex to more primitive brain areas. Let me share with you what's actually happening inside your head during these moments. You see, your brain has this very sophisticated thinking center called the prefrontal cortex, where all your logical reasoning, problem solving, and decision making happens. So when stress hits, research shows that stress hormones reduce activity in the prefrontal cortex, your logical brain, to prepare you for fight or flight response. Your brain essentially prioritizes your survival over clear thinking. Here's what you might find surprising. Your ancient survival system can't tell the difference between a charging tiger and a work deadline. Both situations trigger the exact same biological response that floods your body with stress hormones. Your brain treats that upcoming presentation, that difficult conversation with your partner, or that financial pressure as a genuine threat to your own survival. Stress activates a rapid catecholamine response and a longer lasting cortisol release, both of which prioritize survival over clear thinking. The first system moves at lightning speed, releases norepinephrine and epinephrine into your bloodstream within seconds. Now, these chemicals literally change how your brain processes information, making you hyper-focused on potential threats while making logical thinking nearly impossible. Consider this perspective. Imagine a student sitting down for a very important exam. They've studied for weeks and know the material inside out. But when they read the first question, the mind goes completely blank. The norepinephrine flooding the system has shifted their brain into survival mode, where accessing stored knowledge becomes incredibly difficult. Their heart pounds, their hands shake, and they can't even think clearly despite having all the information they need. The second system works more slowly but lasts much longer, releasing cortisol that keeps your stress response stuck in the on position. Cortisol creates a vicious cycle where stress breeds more stress. Even after the initial threat passes, cortisol keeps your body ready for the next emergency. This is why you might feel anxious and on edge for hours or even days after a stressful event. Remember you getting flashbacks or a nightmare long after an exam is done? Perhaps you get that of a nightmare of an exam or a maths exam you did in school, and now you are like 45 or 50. That's what's happening to you. You deserve to know that these stress hormones don't just affect how you feel. They physically change how your neurons communicate with each other. Your brain becomes wired for quick responses than careful thinking. The pathways that normally help you analyze situations, weigh opinions or options, and make thoughtful decisions get temporarily disconnected. But here's the revelation that changes everything. You can actually train your brain to override this primitive response. The key lies in understanding that awareness is the first step, but elite performers across different fields have discovered something even more powerful. You see, there's an elite performer's secret framework which they follow. Navy SEALs and emergency room doctors share something powerful when chaos erupts around them. Remember seeing maybe a TV serial of emergency room, and you wonder and you have a thought, I could never work like that. It's like tapping the brakes before turning a corner. These people, they use a simple 3-step system called pause, assess, respond, and that system keeps them thinking clearly when others are panicking. That's what separates them. But now you can join that rank. This isn't about being fearless or being superhuman. It's about following a proven framework and a system that works when everything around you feels chaotic. Now, this system creates a buffer between stimulus and reaction, giving you logical brain time to engage before your emotional brain takes over you. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity and immediate effectiveness. Most people react instantly to stress, making decisions from their emotional brain rather than from their thinking brain. When your colleague sends that very sharp, nasty email, when your boss calls an unexpected meeting, when unexpected bills arrive in your mail, your first instinct pushes you toward immediate action. Now, this reactive pattern keeps you trapped in a cycle where stress controls your choices instead of you controlling your responses. The pause step involves specific breathing techniques that activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Use a 4-4-4 breathing pattern. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4 to calm your nervous system in under 30 seconds. So it is in for 4. Take a deep breath in for 4. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out. Release it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just the 4-4-4 breathing pattern. Now, this simple technique counteracts your fight or flight response by lowering your heart rate and your blood pressure. Your body shifts from emergency mode into a calmer state where clear thinking becomes possible again for you. During the assess phase, which is the second phase, you quickly evaluate what's actually happening versus what your stress response is telling you is happening. Your stressed mind often interprets neutral events as threats. That delayed email response becomes evidence that someone is angry with you. The assess step requires you to separate facts from stories your anxious mind creates around those facts. The respond component means choosing your action based on logic rather than fear, even when your body is screaming at you to react. Now, this step involves selecting the most appropriate course of action after considering the available information and each of the potential outcomes. You move from being controlled by your immediate emotional reactions to making informed decisions that serve your actual goals. Consider this perspective. Imagine you're in a workplace meeting when your manager suddenly asks for your opinion on a project you haven't prepared for. Your stress response kicks in, your mind goes completely blank, and your panic starts to rise. Using this framework, you pause, you take one deep breath using the 4-4-4 pattern. You assess that this is a normal work conversation, not a threat to your job security. Then you respond honestly by saying you'd like to review the details and provide a thoughtful answer by the end of the day. This system works because it gives your prefrontal cortex time to come back online before you make critical decisions. Remember how stress shuts down blood flow to your thinking brain? The pause step reverses this process, allowing your rational mind to engage again. Even with this powerful framework, your mind can still play tricks on you during stressful moments. The 3 mental traps that hijack your judgment. Here's something that might surprise you. The thoughts that feel urgent during stress are usually the ones you should trust the very least. You see, your mind creates these thoughts so quickly and with such intensity that they feel completely true. But they're often the very thoughts that lead you away from clear decisions and clear, effective action. Let me share with you 3 specific thought patterns that consistently cloud judgment during stressful situations. Now, these patterns are catastrophizing, all or nothing thinking, and mind reading. You might find that you recognize these patterns in your own thinking, and that recognition becomes the key to breaking free from their influence. These patterns feel completely logical in the moment. Making them especially dangerous because you don't realize they're distorting your perception of reality. Your stressed brain presents these thoughts as facts rather than interpretations, which makes you act on false information without questioning whether your thinking might be skewed at all. Catastrophizing happens when our stress response biases us towards negative predictions, a phenomenon known as catastrophizing. Imagine if you send an important email to your boss and you don't hear back within a few hours. Your mind immediately creates a story about how this delayed response means you're in deep trouble. Your job is at risk and your career might be over. Now, this thought pattern takes a simple, neutral event, transforms it into evidence of impending disaster. You deserve to know that catastrophizing feels logical because it gives your brain a sense of control over uncertainty, even when that control is based on imagined threats. The next one, all or nothing thinking, makes everything feel like it's either perfect or a complete disaster. It's one way or the other, with no middle ground for reasonable solutions. When stress hits, your mind loses the ability to see nuance or partial success. A single mistake becomes proof that you're terrible at your job. One difficult conversation means your relationship is over and doomed. This pattern eliminates the gray areas where most of life actually happens and where practical solutions usually exist. Mind reading, which is the third one, convinces you that you know exactly what others are thinking, usually assuming the worst about their intentions. Consider this perspective. When your colleagues seem quiet during a meeting, your stressed mind decides they're angry with you or disappointed in your work. When your partner takes longer to respond to a text message, you assume they're upset or losing interest. This pattern creates conflicts and misunderstandings that often don't exist outside your own thoughts. Stress hormones like norepinephrine and cortisol narrow attention and bias us toward threat, turning neutral events into perceived dangers. Your mind would rather have a clear negative explanation than deal with the discomfort of not knowing what's happening. You can catch these patterns before they sabotage your decisions by listening for specific phrases in your internal dialogue. Catastrophizing sounds like, "This means everything is ruined," or "Now I'm definitely going to lose everything." All or nothing thinking use words usually like always, never, completely, and totally. Mind reading usually shows up as, "They probably think this," or "I know exactly how they are feeling," followed by multiple negative assumptions. I know you can relate to some of these things immediately, or you might have noticed it with your friends or colleagues. Recognizing these patterns is just the first step. You also need a systematic way to reframe these thoughts into something that actually serve your ability to think clearly and make good decisions. You see, there is a 5-step reframing system that can change everything about how you deal with stress. This 5-step cognitive reframing process can work within minutes when you practice it regularly, transforming stressful situations from threats into opportunities for clear thinking, even when your emotions are running very high. Now, this systematic approach aligns with cognitive restructuring research from Pearls and Beck's method, giving you a proven framework that works precisely because it's logical. Giving you a proven framework that works precisely because it's logical when your emotional brain is in control. I know this feels impossible when you're in the middle of a stressful situation. Your heart is pounding, your thoughts are racing, and the last thing you want is to follow a structured process. But you deserve to know that the process works because it guides you back to clear thinking through 5 specific steps. Step 1 involves you writing down exactly what happened without interpretation or any emotional language, capturing just the facts in a matter-of-fact way, like a security camera recording events. Step 2 requires identifying the specific emotion you're feeling and rating its intensity on a scale from 1 to 10, which separates feeling from thinking and engaging your logical brain. Step 3 captures the automatic thoughts running through your mind, especially the ones that feel the most true and urgent, getting them out of your head and onto paper. Step 4 examines the evidence for and against these thoughts, like a detective building a case rather than a victim telling a story. You ask yourself what proof you have that your automatic thoughts are true and what evidence suggests they may be wrong or exaggerated. Consider this perspective. Most of your stressed thoughts crumble against this kind of logical examination because they're based on assumptions rather than facts. Step 5 creates a more balanced, accurate thought that acknowledges the challenge while opening up possibilities for action. Instead of, I'm definitely going to get fired, you might write, my boss wants to discuss something important and I can prepare for that conversation. Now, this new thought feels more realistic, gives you a clear direction forward. Let me share with you how this works in a workplace pressure. Imagine you made a mistake on an important project. Your automatic thought might be, I've ruined everything. I've made my colleagues think very poor of me, and my career trajectory is probably done for. Following the 5 steps, you separate the facts from your interpretation, identify your anxiety level, examine the evidence, and create a balanced thought, which probably looks like, I made an error that I can fix, and I can use this as a learning opportunity to improve my processes. Now, this systematic approach transforms your relationship with stressful situations because it teaches your brain to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally all the time. You might find that practicing this reframing process during calm moments makes it much easier to access when pressure hits. But even when these powerful tools for managing your thoughts are there, there's still one critical skill that determines whether you make good decisions under pressure or not. That skill is knowing when to use these tools and when to trust your natural responses. Here's the truth about building a stress-proof system. Stress has adaptive value, but you can master how you respond to it. You're developing the wisdom to know when stress is your ally, pushing you toward growth, and when it is your enemy, clouding your judgment. When your body feels energized and your mind stays focused, stress is helping you perform. When your thoughts spiral into catastrophizing and your decisions come into fear, stress is working against you. Your next step is very simple. Choose one technique from today's presentation. Practice it during low stress moments and thereby you can prepare to use it for very high stress situations. And you will find that your ability and your relationship with stress completely changes. Now, finally, you, my friend, are in control. Thank you.